It looks as though the New York Islanders might be finally looking to move on from Garth Snow as general manager. We have reports to indicate that the New York Islanders are searching for another team executive to possibly take over the general manager position. We'll discuss what that means for the organization and some potential candidates coming up next. Welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. As we all know, New York Islanders fans have been calling for Garth Snow to be removed as general manager for some time. We saw some billboards surface in the area this season saying Snow must go, and obviously it looks as though the ownership might be listening to that and finally going to make a move. Now, it doesn't mean that Garth Snow is going to be fired. The report that I'm referring to here actually indicates he's likely going to remain as team president or giving a new title, but step aside as general manager as they hire a new team executive to take over that position. Now, I want to give some credit here to one of our other hockey YouTube channels for breaking this story. The channel is called The Hockey Talk Show. If you haven't checked that out, there's a link down below in the description. He does a lot of hockey videos covering all teams, but he is a former New York Islanders employee, so he has a lot of New York Islander talk on the inside scoop there. And a lot of times he does a show live where you can call in, ask questions. It's a really cool concept. The channel that I've been following for a while, and I highly recommend you check out. So go check out The Hockey Talk Show and subscribe to him and tell him Top Shelf Hockey sent you. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. So as he reported, based on the article, and the article he's referring to as well that I'm going to discuss is also in the description. So if you want to read that article for yourself, please go ahead and feel free. So it looks as though that Islanders ownership is looking to hire a new team executive to take over from Garth Snow here. Obviously, this is a very sensitive time, really, for the Islanders looking to re-sign their superstar franchise player in John Tavares. Might not be the best time to remove Garth Snow and start completely fresh with a whole new GM and coach, as some people might like to see. Obviously, they need to keep Tavares, and they need to do everything they can to do that. So whether or not ownership has already talked to Tavares about this, I have no idea. But it certainly can't help but wonder if he's kind of in the loop on what's going on. And maybe that's something that Tavares really wanted to see in order to consider re-signing. I guess we really won't know the details on that or how that plays out until we get further along in the process. But as we wait to find that out, it looks as though that there is something to this report. And let's discuss a few names that maybe the Islanders might be looking at. Obviously, as the NHL playoffs are continuing on here, there's a lot of potential candidates that are still working as the season continues for some of these teams. A couple names that I've seen come up also come up in other general manager vacancies that we've seen in the last year or so. For example, Tom Fitzgerald is another name that keeps coming up as a potential general manager. There's Paul Fenton out of Nashville. Those are a couple of guys right there that you might, look to see. There's another speculation about potentially, and this is highly speculative here, but we'll throw it out there just because we'll have no way to know. But right now, Lou Lamoriello's son is the assistant GM in New York, works for the Islanders, and there has been some speculation, obviously, around the Maple Leafs and Lou Lamoriello's future with Toronto. It has been speculated, and there's no way to know if there's any truth to this, that he may not be the GM next year, that he might either be transitioned into another role, that his contract might be up, and there is some uncertainty around the Leafs organization around how that's going to work moving forward. So obviously, with having his son working for the Islanders already, could we possibly see Lou come back to the New York area and take over the New York Islanders organization? Can't say it's going to happen with any kind of certainty at all, but it's certainly a fun thought to think about. And like I said, there's a ties there that kind of makes sense. And at the same time, there has been other reports indicating some uncertainty over his future with the Leafs. Obviously, his job in Toronto has nothing to do with his performance. I think he's done a fine job. But at the same time, they acknowledge that maybe they have some other people internally that they'd like to see step in to that role and transition him into more of an advisory role or something to that nature. Obviously, we kind of seen that happen in New Jersey, and then before you know it, he took off for Toronto. So could we see something similar here, perhaps with the New York Islanders? Hard to say. Regardless if it's Lou or if it's Fenton or Fitzgerald or any of these guys, I think the good news for Islanders fans is that ownership is listening. Garth Snow must go is a campaign that appears to have gotten their attention. And obviously, I think it'd be great for the Islanders to get a new voice and a new face back there leading that charge to kind of get this team rated and heading in the right direction. Obviously, there's a lot of players in this Islanders roster that Snow can take credit for, but one thing that's certainly hampered this team is their inability to keep the puck out of the net and get into the playoffs. They've been a terribly inconsistent team over the longest stretch here of Snow's tenure as general manager. They need to get themselves a more consistent goaltender. They need some improvements on the back end. They do have lots of scoring, but that's not enough to get it done in today's NHL. So certainly leave some comments down below. Who do you think would be a good candidate to take over for Garth Snow? And what do you think about this potential move here that they might be moving him into a different role within the organization and hiring a new general manager? If you haven't done so already, go down in the description and click on a link for the Hockey Talk Show. You want to go check out that channel, consider subscribing. Like I mentioned, he's a former Islanders employee, so he's got a lot of inside scoop on Islanders stuff, but he covers all aspects of the NHL. His videos and live streams are highly worth watching, and I highly recommend you go check out that channel. So don't do that before you move on to another video. Don't forget as well, we have a 1,000 subscriber giveaway coming up here very shortly. We're going to be giving away an NHL Adidas hat here when we hit the 1,000 subscriber milestone. Hopefully that'll be here in the next week or two as things progress towards that goal. If you haven't done so already, consider following us on Twitter as well. You're going to find our Twitter handle on the screen right here. Our link to our Twitter account is also down in the description. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.